Hi everyone, how have you all been? Oh, so good to see all of you again. I'm looking at the chat, looks like we've got Sarah up in here as well. Welcome back, Sarah. You've been away for a couple streams. It's good to see you back. Oh, let's see, who else is here? The G Gamer is here. Kidding Cell is here. Dead Wolf Production, Big Bash. I can see it's the usual suspects who are back. Good Times, Jess, Gamersaw, Khan, Saeed, Fireboy. We've got Good Times. We've got Time Shadow is here as well. Oh, thanks, Khan. And Big Bash. You're all noticing the haircut. Thanks, Batman235. Yeah, it's Mother's Day today. How is that going for everyone? Yes, Good Times, I did. I trimmed the beard as well. Oh, thanks, Sarah. Appreciate that. She says, looking fresh, Eric. Ethan's drawing. Says, very nice. Good thing that you've all been enjoying your Mother's Days. Here in the UK, it was Mother's Day, I think, at the end of March. So, it's interesting. I didn't realize until today, actually, that Mother's Day doesn't happen in America and the UK at the same time. I kind of assumed it was one of those things that just does happen at the same time. Sarah says, I've missed you all too. I'm so sorry for not showing up the past streams. I've been so busy, and every time I realized I miss a stream, I was so sad. I miss you guys. Well, we all missed you too, Sarah. People even mentioned you from time to time and saying, oh, Sarah, when I said it's great to see all of you, some people were saying, but Sarah's not here. So it's great to see you too. Everyone's very happy. Big Bash, what did we do for Mother's Day? Well, first of all, Mother's Day is not today. For us, it was at the end of March. But I gotta say, we didn't do anything for Mother's Day, and don't do anything for Father's Day either. My personal belief on the matter is that you shouldn't have to pick a certain day to be grateful to your parents. Every day you should be grateful. So I tried to show that on several occasions. I don't want it to feel like it's a habit in my mind that only one day a year you gotta be nice to them. You should be nice to them all the time, so that's what I practice. I don't specify it because society says this is the one day you should appreciate them. You should always appreciate them. Saeed says, I thought that's a Muslim thing, Eric. Glad to know. I mean, it is definitely, that is something that when I used to be at, I remember when I used to be at work or when I used to be, you know, in circles with people, it's like, that is something that the Muslims would also say, but the thing is, when they said it, it made so much sense. And everyone in the group is like, yeah, that's true, that is. Doesn't mean they all stopped Mother's Day, they still went about doing it, but for me, I was young enough when I heard it to where I was like, you know what, I think that's true. So, yeah, I follow that too. Gamersaur says, I just ignore Mother's Day and Father's Day and just act grateful every day. Yeah, exactly, that's the whole point. It feels like they're trying to train you into being, you know, only... It's like they're training you into doing the most basic of things just because they allocate a certain day to it. It's like, just because society says that this is Mother's Day or Father's Day doesn't mean that's the day you should be appreciative to them. You should be appreciative all the time. Let's see. Is it someone's birthday? Is it? Oh, if it is, let me know, because I can't see. I had a lot of comments here. Superman is coming out exactly in 2 months. Yep, and that means that by the end of this month, we should get another trailer. So be sure to follow me over on Patreon, where I will be doing my trailer reaction up there for all you guys to see. Oh, is it Fireboy's birthday? He's turned 19. Well, happy birthday, Fireboy. I think you mentioned last week that next week it was going to be your birthday, you know, around the time of the stream, so if I remember that correctly. So, happy birthday. I hope you've had a great day. Kidding Cell says, how do you feel about Thunderbolt's new title? It's not a good one. I mean, originally everyone thought they were going to be called the Dark Avengers. That's what everyone thought. But it turns out that they called them the New Avengers. I wouldn't be surprised if they changed the Dark Avengers to the New Avengers at the last second, just so it could seem like a bigger movie than it is. Because the Dark Avengers wouldn't have really appealed to anyone, but the New Avengers has more weight and meaning to it. But it just doesn't feel right applied to the Thunderbolts. They don't seem like Avengers level characters. They're just too random and throwaway for that. So I think that was a very desperate marketing move, I think. Good. It looks like that's nice. Everyone's giving Fireboy a happy birthday. You guys are all nice to each other. You are. Okay, let's see. The Movie King says Thunderbolts looks too street level. Well, it is more of a not grounded, that's the wrong word, but it is kind of like brought down. It's not as, over the top with like its action sequences and stuff. The action sequences are more grounded until you get to the climax, of course, as you would expect. Joshman says, how's it going, Eric? I really do like your new haircut, and I do see you have seen Final Destination Bloodlines early. Yeah, I saw the movie early. I'll let you guys know how I saw Final Destination Bloodlines early. So, I was at my, I was near my cinema. I wasn't actually going to go there. But as I was near it, I thought, let's take a look at some movie times to see what's coming out, because I know in May there are some movies coming out. I thought, let's just double check. And as I checked, I saw there was a double bill of Final Destination. There was a double bill of Final Destination 1 and Final Destination 6. And I was like, huh, I didn't think Final Destination Bloodlines comes out this week. So, and this was on a... what was it? I think this was on a Thursday or Friday. I think it was a... was it Thursday? Thursday or Friday? Thursday or Friday. I think it was a Friday. So I had a look at the show times and I was like, wow, it's a double bill, but we're getting the movie a whole week early. So basically this double feature that I ultimately bought tickets for and I went to go see the movie, it was for Final Destination 1 and Final Destination 6. And if you watched it as a double bill, you actually got to see the Final Destination 6 right after the first movie, and you got to see it early. So that's why I actually got to see it earlier. So yeah, the movie's not coming out for us in the UK. It comes out this Wednesday, but for everyone else, it comes out this upcoming Friday. So yeah, I thought if I actually get to watch the movie early, which I did, I thought I can do a review for you guys. So that's why I ended up watching it early, and I've actually got a scripted video coming out about Final Destination 6, and I have finished writing that as well. It just took me a day and a half to write the script, so yeah. Let's see. Goat says, what happened to the Sinners versus video? And I think, was it Big Bash that asked that as well? Yeah, how's the copyright issues with Sinners going? I've got no updates, sadly. The whole thing with these copyright claims is that you gotta submit an appeal, and they rejected my first appeal, but I uploaded the video again and submitted another appeal, and you gotta wait 30 days. If they don't respond within 30 days, the claim is removed, but if within that 30 days, say in the 29 and a half days in, they say declined, then it's declined. So what I'm going to do, my next thing I'm going to try to do is tomorrow or the day after, I'm going to try to give them a call, an international call. I just renewed my phone contract recently, so I've actually went for a plan that has international minutes, because I think they're based in France, the people that are claiming me. So I'm going to give them a call, see if they can lift the copyright claim. If they can, great. You get the Sinners versus video, and then you'll have another versus video very shortly after that too. So you've got two versus videos much closer together. If not, I'm gonna have to really see what I can do, but I don't want to have to change the video drastically. Yeah, Big Bash, I'm aware. Angry Joe did have the exact same issue. The copyright claims are going crazy now. Like, they're going way crazy. I don't know how videos can be made if this is how crazy they're getting, and this is how tight they're getting. Like 1 second or 2 seconds they're claiming for? That's ridiculous, that is. So we'll have to see what happens, but yeah, I'm gonna try my best here to see if I can, sort things out, but we'll have to just wait and see. Only time will tell. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but you just gotta roll with it, I suppose. Yeah, guys, if I could take it to court too, trust me, I would. Eric, call them on this stream. That's not gonna do anything. Plus, it's late. I can't call them now. They're closed. You've got to call them during the day, because it's about 11 p.m. right about now in about a couple of minutes. They're not going to be open at that point, so yeah. Deadwolf, you say Warner Brothers copyrights everything, but for me, Warner Brothers have not been so bad. Here's hoping they stay that way. It should be allowed for movie reviews and for versus videos. It's breaking freedom of speech. Yeah, but it's not even freedom of speech. It's just the fact that you're allowed to, as a journalist, if you're reviewing the movie, which I am, you're allowed to, but they just don't let me. It's like they're just trying to cause issues. But at the same time, I also blame YouTube, because their copyright system, the bot that YouTube have to detect these copyright claims, is just way too sensitive. It actually said first that the video has got no copyright problems, and then about 2-3 hours later it says, actually, there are copyright problems. But could you imagine if I went off of that first assessment and I said, okay then, no copyright claims, I'll click publish. And could you imagine if then the copyright claim happened? It's ridiculous, it really is. The Time Shadow says, I don't know if you want to do this, Eric, but I've often found that covering the video footage with an image of your YouTube channel's logo does help. Honestly, what I would want to try is something that Angry Joe does. Angry Joe has like an overlay where he says fair use and all that stuff, and he's got his logo on there. So that's what I need. That's what I would like to have, but I haven't got the time to make that because I'm working on other Versus videos right now. So who knows, if someone else can make that for me and just send it to me as an overlay, I could put it on and then we'll see what it does. Maybe then you'll get the Sinners Versus video sooner, but I haven't got time to do that right now. The G-Gamer, yes, I have had videos that got copyright claimed months or even years later. It happened with many videos, but one of the ones I remember that it happened with was Zack Snyder's Justice League versus Joss Whedon's Justice League. You know, one of my most viewed Versus video, or one of my second most viewed Versus video. That video got tons of copyright claims too. But thankfully, I submitted an appeal, and I told them the music I'm using is a cover theme. It's not your actual music, and I got permission from L Orchestra, who allowed me to use their music. And I told them that, and they removed the claim. So yeah, they did try to claim that in the past, but thankfully I stopped that. Hey, Logman, great to see you here. We got Rami as well here, or Raimi. A24 is making a Stephen King show. Yeah, I've heard about that, I think. No Fairy Tale. Thanks for Crazy Galileo. Oh, you guys are just chatting with each other. Goat says, what's the next Versus video? I can't tell you that. I'm gonna keep that a surprise for you guys, but I am working on one. I was working on one last night. After this stream, if I'm not tired, I'm gonna try to work on another one, which well, continue editing. I am working on the Daredevil versus Daredevil Born Again versus video, so that is something I'm still working on, and it's going to be about a 30-minute long video, so there'll be a lot to talk about with both Daredevil Born Again and the 3 seasons of the original show. So be sure to stay tuned for that. That's quite a lengthy, meaty video, that is. Trevor says, been reading books lately. Right now I'm reading Fellowship of the Ring. Ooh. I was reading books a few months ago, or was it a year ago now? Time goes by so fast. And I was going through the Harry Potter books again. I remember I was reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. That was fun. Oh, your name is pronounced Raimi. Okay then, I got you, bud. I'll keep that in mind. Alright then. Now, before we get started with the stories, I'm going to just make a quick little announcement. If you remember, last week, you guys were talking about merch that you wanted me to give you guys, you know, like shirts and stuff. And well, as well as editing all of these videos and dealing with copyright claims, I have actually looked into the merch situation, and here you go. This is just 3 examples of merch that you can get on the merch website, which is available, and here's the link right here. There you go. I just put the link in there, which will give you merch, which will give you the link to the merch where you can buy it. Now, it'll start off with t-shirts and stuff. Thank you very much, Batman's Gamer, for the $5 super chat. But yeah, it's going to start off with t-shirts and stuff, and then I'll see if I can actually add more stuff like notebooks, and as well as adding notebooks and things, what I will also do is see if I can put mugs in there and stuff like that. So if you like what you see right here, then that is great. Give me a second. Let me see if I can just bring myself in. Ooh, I can bring myself in. Doesn't look particularly good, though. So I'm just going to... So let me just minimize myself right about here. You know what? I take that back. Let's just not do it. You guys can hear me. You'll see me in a bit. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. So there's merch there. You guys says that give you the link. Some of you said you would buy merch. You'd want to get hoodies and stuff, and there are hoodies in there as well. So take a look at it, and you can see, and you can have a look for yourself and see if there's anything that catches your fancy. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. If it goes well, then I'll start looking into expanding on merch and doing things like notebooks and doing things like mugs and hats and all that kind of stuff. So this is like phase 1, or like, you know, like my first try at merch. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hope you guys enjoy the t-shirts. There's plenty of variety there, plenty of color options to choose from. And if you like it, then great. We will like I said, I'll expand the range and give you more options. So yeah. Khan says make a plushie. I'll look into doing that, but right now we'll start off with this. So yeah, the link I've put right over there. I'll also make sure I leave it in the description. You know what? Let me quickly do that right now. Of this live stream. Thanks, Rohan, for the compliments on the haircut. Let me see here. Merch. And there you go. It's in the description, so you might have to restart or just quickly refresh the page, but then it will take you right to... it'll update the description and you'll see a link that will take you right to the merch. So, yeah. Eric Carter has got... Captain Eric has got merch now. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy that. And be sure to let me know what you think of the quality when or if you purchase them. And like I said, the donations will definitely... If you buy those, it'll definitely help support the channel. And also, like I said, if you want to... We're about to move on to the stories now. And if you want to ask me any questions, then of course you can donate through the super chats on YouTube. Or the thing that definitely helps more is if you donate through Streamlabs, which is also linked in the description and pinned in the chat section. If you donate through that, you can ask your question and I'll answer your question once I finish the story. The people that give super chats and Streamlabs chats, they will get answers to their questions first. And yeah, also keep in mind as well that on Patreon, like I said, I've got tons of content, including trailer reactions. I'm going to be reacting to Invincible Season 3 as soon as I finish the last 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. And yeah, then you guys can watch my reaction to those, as well as plenty of other things too. So yeah, plenty of merch options and stuff. Big Bash, I've not seen Tales of the Underworld yet. I really want to though, but I haven't seen that yet. So yeah. Alright then, with all that said, it's time to get to the first story, which is not really a story as much as it is my review for Final Destination Bloodlines. Now, for those of you that did not catch the beginning of this stream, I'll quickly explain how I actually got to see this movie early. So, I was browsing around in my theater, and as that happened, I thought, you know what, let's see if there's any movies coming out that I need to see soon. Mission Impossible, the next Mission Impossible is one of the movies that I want to see next. And as I was looking at the showtimes, it actually said that there's a double bill playing of Final Destination 1 and Final Destination Bloodlines. And when I saw that, I was like, oh cool, they're actually releasing Final Destination Bloodlines. But I looked and there was no other showing for Final Destination Bloodlines. I thought maybe I'll watch it tomorrow. So I had to look at the box office the showtimes for the next day. And there was no screenings then either. So I was like, what is this? This is bizarre. So I looked it up and it turns out the release date for Final Destination Bloodlines, the movie's not released yet. It's going to release this Wednesday in the UK and this Friday in America. But here I was on a Friday, the week before it's supposed to officially release, and I have an option to watch it right now on my cinema's biggest screen as part of a double bill with not just this latest Final Destination movie, but also with the first Final Destination movie. And this movie, I haven't seen it in years, so I thought, you know what, that actually doesn't sound like a bad idea. So what I did is I actually clicked. Not clicked. I actually bought the ticket and I thought, you know what? I'll watch and review this for you guys. Now, before we do get onto the review, I gotta answer Batman's Gamer's super chat. You thought I forgot there, did you? Yeah, I did kind of for a second, but trust me, that was only because I went on the whole merch rant. So, let's answer his question, then I'll get straight to the review, now that you know how I got to watch this movie early. So, Batman's Gamer says, why are studios complaining about copyright? Not like the studios are actively using soundtracks, bruv. Yeah, I know. They're complaining about people using like even a second of their soundtracks or footage. So, it is just insanely crazy that they are just claiming everything, but it just goes to show they just want to have control over everything. Do you know how there used to be those PSAs on DVDs where Hollywood was basically trying to tell you, like, they were anti-piracy ads where they were saying you would not steal a DVD, you would not steal someone's property, you would not steal a house, this and that. But look at what they're doing to us content creators. They have all these billions of dollars, and yet content creators that are just making videos and they're trying to just get by, they're stealing their money. They're stealing their videos. So basically they're saying we can't pirate their stuff, but they can pirate our stuff. You can't steal our stuff, but we can steal your stuff. Tough. It's like, if that's the attitude that these studios are going to have, then honestly, they should not be surprised when people turn on them. So yeah, it should be, your Big Bash, you're right, it should be counted as a crime. And Batman's Gamer, you are right. They don't own the music. They own it in the sense that that it was made by them and all that. But the thing is, in terms of licensing and everything, or just in terms of fair use, it depends what you're doing. If you're reviewing it or adding commentary to it, like I am, and like many other YouTubers are, then it's allowed. Legally, they are allowed to. But studios don't give a crap about our rights. They only care about their own, and they want us to respect theirs, but they don't want to respect ours. So, make of that what you will. Alright then, with that said, let's get to my review of Final Destination Bloodlines. Now, Final Destination Bloodlines... Here we go. Final Destination Bloodlines is the 6th Final Destination movie, and in my head I kind of thought, oh, is there just 6? I always kind of assumed that there was more, like this might be the 7th, but no, it's the 6th. And we haven't had a Final Destination movie in years, which is quite surprising. But yes, they decided to make another movie, and I did not know what to think about it, because I liked the first movie, I liked the second one, I liked the third one. The fourth one I thought was terrible. It's actually the worst of all of them. The fifth one I thought was good at first, but then it just became okay. But then the ending, really, I thought it was really cool what it did and how it tied in with one of the previous movies. I thought that was very smart. And it ended on a high to where I was like, you know what? That made me enjoy the movie. So yeah, I did think that the fifth one had problems, but the ending really turned it around. And now we have the sixth one. And how is this sixth one? Well, first of all, we'll talk about our main character. Now, our main character is a girl named Stephanie. Now, Stephanie is a character who, or as you would expect, like all the main characters in these movies, has the premonitions. But the reason this movie is called Bloodlines is because she has a premonition, but it's not her premonition, it's a premonition of someone in her family tree, essentially. That person had a premonition, and now she is seeing that person's premonition. The only thing is that person had a premonition, like, in the past, like, such a long time ago, and she's seeing it now, like, generations later. So that's where the name Bloodlines comes in, if you're wondering what the whole Bloodlines name actually means. That's what it means. And I actually thought that they were going to do a lot with this whole Bloodlines thing, but aside from that, that's literally all they do with it. After that, they just go back to the normal Final Destination formula, so I gotta say, I'm fine with the original formula, but they set this movie up like it was going to try something different, or it was going to have a new take on the Final Destination formula, but it didn't, and I did think that was disappointing, because they set me up thinking it was going to be something really different, and then it just wasn't. It was more of the same. So go in knowing that the Bloodlines title doesn't really mean much, aside from what I told you, that she saw someone else's vision. So that's what it basically refers to, and it doesn't really do much beyond that. There is a slight family tree element to it, but that's all I'll say. You can watch the movie to know exactly what that means. So, yeah, that's one thing to go in knowing. This is definitely not an experimental Final Destination movie. It very much is doing the formula that we know. But it is a good formula, so it's not really a huge issue. The other thing that I'm actually surprised by with this movie is the deaths. The deaths are very creative, and they are far bigger in scope than any of the previous movies. Like, really, I would actually go as far as to say that the deaths in this movie, they actually go Fast and Furious levels. Like, they go insane. Now, there are some deaths that, of course, are not as bad as the others, but they really went quite graphic with these. Like, I'm surprised here in the UK, I'm almost surprised that they didn't make this an 18. Because here in the UK, we have, like, 2 R ratings. We got a 15, which is like a light R, and then we got an 18, which is like a hard R. And this got the light R rating with the, you know, like the 15. But there are certain deaths in this where you see the detail and, like, the ripped jaw or the ripped whatever, like, you know, the blood and all that stuff. You see details, and I'm surprised they said that this is just... I'm surprised they said that this is just, yeah, this is a lower level R, but it's like, it's insanely violent. So yeah, they got the really bloody kills in there. They are very over the top, and that really comes down to your own personal preference if you're willing to accept these over the top deaths, or if you wish they were more grounded like the previous movies, or specifically like the first film. It really comes down to your own personal preference. For me, I thought it was cool to see, but I still need to think about it, because there were some really creative deaths in this. There was one death in particular that was so bloody that, honestly, I cringed in my seat. And there was... I'm not kidding. There was a woman a few seats to my left, and she actually made these crying sounds and had her hoodie cover her face. Like, it got that violent, and because we were in a very loud screening, it's a loud screening with a big screen and everything, you could really hear all the crunches, all the screaming and everything, and it was a bloody great time. That was my favorite death of the whole movie. So, Big Bash, no, it's not as graphic as Terrifier 3, but nothing is. I'm talking specifically on the Final Destination kind of like area, on the Final Destination scale. It is probably the bloodiest Final Destination movie on that scale. Now, it does use a mixture of I'd say it uses a mixture of practical effects, but I'm trying to think. I don't think it uses much. Most of the effects in this, they are CGI, which is unfortunate. I would have liked a nice mix of practical and special effects. But as the Final Destination movies have gone on, they've relied more and more on CGI, and this movie probably doesn't rely on CGI as much as, say, some of the last 2 films. But it still very much does rely on it. In terms of the CGI, is it good or bad? I would say it's not good, but it is definitely better than what it was in the 4th and 5th movie. Those films, you could see the cheapness and the fakeness. Here, you can see it, but if you choose to, you can look past it. Whereas with the others, it was just too obvious and too much CGI. The original 3 movies used a ton of practical effects, and they were all the better for it. So I would say that it really comes down to your preference, but I would say, even though these deaths are on, like, crazy Fast and Furious levels with Final Destination 6, there is something to be said about the practical effects of the deaths in the first 3 films. So yeah, the deaths, if you came here to get, like, your blood horror fix, you definitely get it in this movie. And this is where things get a bit off now. Now, the characters, I don't think they're bad, but they seem like they're just a little bit off. I feel like they needed to have a rewrite, because the main character in particular, Stephanie, she very quickly gets into the whole, like, everyone, like, you know, listen, death is after you, and it's, you know, here are the rules and everything. It goes after it does that very quickly, I think. And I wish that her character would have more organically gotten into that role, kind of like what Alex did in the first film. In the first 3 films, especially in the first film, I thought it was a much more organic transition from our main character having the vision of the future, you know, the premonition, and then jumping to the conclusion that death is coming after them. And I don't think this movie did it as naturally, to be honest with you. I think it needed a rewrite there. And the characters, I liked them, but I did not love them. And I didn't really care for them in, like, a huge way where I'm like, you know, like, I want you to survive. It was fine. Like, they're not bad characters, but I wish they had a bit more to them. Maybe if the movie spent a bit more time with them at the beginning, I think it would have actually done them a great service. Now, so yeah, the characters, they're not amazing, but they're passable. Now, this is where things get very interesting, and this really comes down to your own preference. But this Final Destination movie, it is definitely the most comedic of the entire franchise. Now, that really surprised me, because when you actually go to IMDb or look this movie up online and you look at the genres that it's in, it all says horror, supernatural horror, horror thriller, psychological horror, horror. It has all of that stuff in the tags, but it doesn't say anything about horror comedy. And that's what I feel like this movie is. If anything, I think it's leaning heavier on the comedy. And that was very bizarre to me. Now, the reason... Let me just double check this. The reason I think that this movie lent into the comedy a lot more... Let's see... Right here. Yep. The reason I think it delved into the comedy a lot more is because one of the writers of this movie, the person that came up with the story and everything, is John Watts. Now, for those of you that don't know, John Watts is the director of Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Spider-Man No Way Home. He wrote the story for this movie, and I think he also produced it. And that, I think, is the reason why the comedy has kind of come in. It's definitely seems like he added some of the comedy elements in there. So, just know going in that Final Destination 6 is not a horror movie. It is a horror comedy, and I think it leans heavier on the comedy. So keep that in mind. That is very important to know, because it's something that I wish I would have probably known going in, but they don't tell you that. So I'm telling you that right now. This is more of a comedy than any of the previous movies have been. I mean, there are scenes where, like, deaths happen, and then the very next scene after that, they say something or show something or do some kind of joke where the audience in my theater was laughing. And I was like, that's not the kind of tension that you're supposed to have with the Final Destination movies. They can be darkly funny, but the movies are never treating it like it's funny. The movies are always taking the death seriously. And I feel like this one, it actually did add some humor to it. So it really comes down to your preference. I would suggest you watch it for yourself and see what you think, because I don't think it's MCU style humor, but it does feel like it's trying to inject its own kind of humor. I wouldn't say it's quite Scream humor, but I would say it's closer to that if you want to get an idea of what kind of humor they're doing. And not the humor when the killer comes in, but the humor of when the killer is not there. Think Scream 3. I'd say is probably the closest example I can think of. It's not quite like Scream 3, but that's the closest I can think of. I think Scream 3's comedy was actually great, personally, but yeah. So, yeah, it's Final Destination 6. They don't tell you this, but it is more of a horror comedy. And for me, I'm still not quite sure what I think about that, because I did laugh on certain scenes, but at the same time, it doesn't fill you with this feeling of dread. The Final Destination movies have always been great at filling you with this feeling of dread, where you just feel scared and you're like on edge and like just waiting for something bad to happen. With this movie, you do get the feeling that something bad's gonna happen, but you're not scared for the characters. So that is actually an issue to me. I wish I don't know why everything nowadays it feels like everything is trying to become a comedy, and with this film in particular, I really wish they didn't do that. Like, I'm still processing it, and as I'm processing it, I feel like the more and more I think about it, the less I like it. Like, I went with it when I was watching it. I was aware it was happening, but I went with it. But the more I look back on it, and I feel like if I was to rewatch it, I don't think I would be happy with that. I don't think. So, yes, it all comes down to your own personal preference, But yeah, they don't tell you this, and yes, I would say it's false advertising, but this is more of a horror comedy. But like I said, leaning on the comedy. So yeah, definitely the most comedic of the franchise. Yeah, definitely the most comedic of the franchise. And Big Bash says, so poor advertising. Yep, poor advertising. Let's see, basically the monkey. Yeah, it's kind of like the monkey, except yeah, the monkey also didn't advertise that it was a comedy either, did it? Yeah, kind of like the monkey in a way. Yeah. So keep that in mind because that I don't know if that'll make it or break it for you guys, but that is something the movie does. So, yeah, overall, the story had potential to be something different, but ultimately it very loosely did something with the Bloodlines title. Then it went right back to the original formula that these movies are known for. So, a lack of creativity in that, I would say. And then what it also did was it did an okay job with the characters. It had a lot of very creative death scenes, like from the beginning to end, the death scenes were definitely creative. But they lacked that feeling of dread and horror that the previous movies had. But at the same time, they were still a lot of fun, and I feel like everyone's going to come away remembering that death scene that I'm talking about, the one that I said that I cringed at, and a woman a few seats across from me actually made crying noises at. I feel like we're all going to be talking about that same death scene because it is painful. And then there's another death scene that follows it very quickly after, so that one was a lot of fun. That was a ton of fun. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, the comedy, I feel like the comedy and the characters are two of the biggest problems of this movie. If you can look past that, you'll have a great time. But for me, I felt like it was lacking a bit in that regard. So my overall score for Final Destination Bloodlines right now, it could potentially change, is a very low 7 out of 10. So, yeah, would I recommend watching this movie? Yeah, surprisingly, I will say this. I only watched this movie in the cinema because I got a screening to it a week in advance. But I wouldn't have watched it if I didn't get that screening. What I would have done was waited for it to come out on streaming, and I would have watched it there. But I'm glad I watched it in the theater, especially if you watch it in a big screen with a very loud, like, Dolby Atmos system. The deaths and all the sound effects, they really hit you that way. So I'd recommend watching it on a big screen, this movie. It definitely would be worth it. So yeah, I actually enjoyed this movie. It had its issues and its problems, but a low 7 out of 10 is what I'll give it. I was actually going back and forth between a high 6 out of 10 and a low 7, but I'll actually give it a low 7. So yeah, that's my review of Final Destination 6. What do you guys think? Have you seen the movie yet? Have you got any early screenings like I did? Or are you going to watch it? And if you're going to watch it, let me know if you've already booked your tickets. Let me know if you've seen the previous movies. I'd be curious to know. Sarah says, I want my monkey review, Eric. I paid good money for the monkey. Monkey, and then she says monkey again. Don't worry, Sarah, that monkey review is on my to-do list. I'm just working on some Versus videos right now I'm trying to get out. And then Lilo and Stitch is coming out too. I could get the monkey review done much quicker if I just did a car review or something, but because you guys wanted me to do an edited review when I put the poll out, that's why it's taking me longer. But if you want, I could just do a quick a very quick car review, because that takes less editing and you'll get your monkey review. So let me know if you're okay with that and I'll consider doing something. That way you'll get it quicker. Crazy Cat Lady says, how do you get merch started? Do you need a certain number of subscribers? No, you just have to go and look for some websites where they actually allow content creators to do merch and you can get into it that way. These people in particular who gave me merch, right here, Bonfire, they contacted me a couple years ago and says that they wanted to give me a start up on this, and I took them up on it, but I just never ended up publishing it. So you saw me with a couple of the t-shirts. I've got two of them right here. One's a long sleeve and one is a short sleeve. So yeah, I've had this for a while, and I just never got to sell. I just never sold them. However, it was who was it? It was one of you guys last week on the live stream when I talked about it, where you says that you'd be interested in merch from me. So I said, would you be interested in the shirts? And some of you says, do you have hoodies or do you have this or that? And I says, yes, I have some of those. So I looked into it and I thought, all right, let's do this, and we'll do this as kind of like a first stage, and if it goes well, I'll expand on the merchandise and we'll do notebooks and we'll do hats, maybe we can do coasters, or we could do mugs. So be sure to let me know, and then we can branch out on the designs too. So we can do, if you guys have any ideas of what you want on the merch, then you can also let me know. You can put Captain Eric on there or whatever you want and things. So be sure to let me know. Goat, it was you then. He says, Eric, I was the person who suggested to sell merch. So yep, Sarah, merch is there. The link is in the description of this live stream if you want to see. Here, I'll put it in the chat again, so you can take a look at the merch options available. Here, I actually showed the merch earlier. There you go. All hail Captain Eric, Sarah. Alright, then I'll make note of that right now. Where are we? All hail. All hail the captain. Captain Eric. Let the battle commence. I'll also put that there. Let the battle commence is actually on that. Yeah. Is actually on the shirt, on these shirts, so yeah. But yeah, like I said, those are just... So yeah, that's those are some of the shirts that you can go through, and there are plenty of other options on the website, so click on the link and take a look for yourself. Sarah says she loves them. That's nice. I had to go through certain shirts and everything, and I had to really find some. So if you like them, great. I'm very, very glad. I'm aware it was you, Goat. I already pointed that out. So yeah, Captain Eric has merchandise. Big Bash says Finalist Nation 7 should star Captain Eric as the main character. Yeah, only problem in your logic there, Big Bash, is that all the main characters, except for the woman in the second film, they all die. I'm not counting the recent movie. I'm not that stupid. I'm talking about all the others. They've all died in the past. Khan says you should definitely commission someone to make a Captain Eric art piece to put for your t-shirts. That is not a bad idea. Sarah says, ever been in acting? No, I've not been in acting. No, I've never considered it either. The only acting I've done is on my videos when I've had to do certain... in some of the earlier ones when I was making funnier videos, like on my 3-minute reviews, I was doing some acting then, you could say. Sarah says, I'd love to make art for your t-shirt, Eric. Well, yeah, go ahead, Sarah. Go nuts. If you want to make art for the shirts, you can go ahead, put it on, you can go ahead, send it my way. And she says she'll do it for free. That's very generous of you, Sarah. I'll definitely be sure to credit you once you've done it. So yeah, sure thing. If there's any designs that you have ideas for, by all means, go ahead, go crazy, go Yo, get creative and send me the ideas once you have them. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Your designs might end up on the merchandise. Goat says, how long is shipping? I'll have to actually take a look because I want to give you a proper answer. It ships worldwide, and Bonfire handle the shipping. I think it depends on your region, so it's hard for me to just give a one answer all type thing. So yeah, be sure to take a look around and see what you think. Sarah says it would be an honor. That's very nice, Sarah. You're doing a very good thing. You're asking people any ideas for shirts that they want. So, yeah, go crazy. Everyone, let Sarah know. Looks like she's going to give some design ideas. Big Bash says, Eric, the character avatar I made, I think would be good for the merch, Eric. All right, Big Bash, send the character avatar. You mean the one you sent me? Was it of me? Send it over and I'll take a look. If anyone's got, I'll leave this out as an open. That's what they call an open casting call. Kind of that. I'll leave it open for you guys. So if you want to send me any ideas for merch that you'd like to see, be sure to send it my way. Be sure to send it my way, and we'll see what I do if it goes on the merch. And yeah, you guys can get basically the merch that you want essentially this way, so go for it. The G Gamer says, versus video idea someone has with their thumbnail in it. What does that mean? Maybe it's simple, but for some reason I'm not processing that. Versus video idea someone has with their thumbnail in it. Oh, that's nice. Khan says, or let the battle commence, then have an artwork of a fist breaking through a wall. That sounds actually really creative. That's interesting, that. Any reference or callbacks that would be fun to see on the shirts? Haha. Oh, yeah. What callbacks or references should be on the shirts? You guys have watched my Versus videos far more than I have. I watch them a ton of times when I'm editing them. After that, I don't really watch them after that because I'm usually working on the next one. Occasionally I'll look back a couple times, but I think you guys know that, so yeah, let Sarah know. Then she can do it. Eric, in with the Infinity Gauntlet, a purple lightsaber and a YouTube play button on shirts or hoodies. Oh, Eric on the shirt with the Infinity Gauntlet, a purple lightsaber, and a YouTube play button. I don't know. I think copyright issues could happen with that, so it's got to be something that doesn't have any copyright issues. So yeah, go nuts and let Sarah know right now. Let Sarah know. Eric sitting on a throne. Bully, I don't know what EFAP is. Goat says Eric is King of England. Let me ask some of you guys a question. Have any of you seen the Final Destination movies before? The Time Shadow says, what are the prices for TV show commissions? Well, it depends. Let me get rid of that. Let me show the other one here. Oh, where is it? Here you go. Here are the TV show commissions. Unless you're talking about reviews for TV shows, in which case that is a separate commission. That's on Patreon. So if you want to see the TV show commission for Patreon, then that's what you have to do, is you got to go on Patreon for that. Charles says, there's something I'm meaning to watch eventually. Big Bash said he heard of them from Dead Meat Kill Count. Nope, but I want to watch one, says Goat. Watch the first one. The first one is in my opinion the best one. Although a lot of people say the second one is the best one. So yeah, give them a watch. I'd highly recommend them. Yeah, but yeah, Batman 235, I am excited for John Cena and David Corenswet to interact, but I'm not super excited. I feel like John Cena can interact with other groups of characters. I don't see him interacting with Superman just yet. And here's a link to my Patreon for one of you asking questions about TV show commissions. It was the Time Shadow. So yeah, these are the TV show commissions, and now we're going to get ready soon to get back to our stories. Oh, the Dark Lord's popped in. Hey buddy, how have you been? Killick says, Final Destination 1 and 5 are good. Final Destination 3, fun, but not the best. Final Destination 2 is the outliner, or I think you mean the outlier or something. And Final Destination 4, garbage but funny. Yeah, it was funny, but I feel like unintentionally so. Charlton says, I'm just hoping the Final Destination movies don't have eyeball scenes. They make me feel sick. Yeah, there was that. The fifth movie had the laser eye surgery, didn't it? That was a funny one. It was scary but also funny. Jess says, I've seen all of them, but my favorite one is the first. Yeah, the first one was my favorite as well. Again, I'm not comparing it to the recent one because I've just seen the recent one and I need more time to think about it, but I can compare it to the 4 sequels, and I think that it's better than the 4 sequels. Yeah, Deadwolf. Final Destination 3 had the tan bed death. That was freaky. If you're claustrophobic, especially like I was when I was younger, when I watched the movie for the first time, that death was that was disturbing, man. It really was. Khan says, how about Eric becoming the new Captain America? Sorry, bud, but I don't think I want to be associated with America. Because I'll just be calling them out on all their double standards. But then again, Captain America has done that too, hasn't he? And that's why he was on the run. Oh, Killick says, I hope I like Bloodlines because it comes out on my birthday. Have you seen the previous 5, Killick? Oh yeah, you have. You talked about them right here. I'd say give it a watch. I think you'd have a fun time, because these Final Destination movies are not deep. You're really supposed to be there just to enjoy them, and I think you will. And Tony Todd, it was very nice to see him again. And I feel like I've actually looked into this, and I was actually thinking, it seems like they knew he was going to pass away because of the things that he says. He actually said some lines where it's like, did they know he was going to pass away? And I read an article earlier where it says that they knew that this was probably going to be his last movie. So they said to him, just say what you would want to say to your fans. And then he said some words which felt like I said, it felt like they knew he was gonna pass away. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, it's like he gave a goodbye. That was actually a little bit sad. That was actually very well done. That was. It sure is, Khan. Sad to hear about his passing. But it's cool that we got him in another movie, in this Final Destination movie, and we're going to get him in another game, in the Venom game from Insomniac. So we're still getting his performance. It's not completely done yet. It's just sad that Kevin Conroy didn't get a great last performance as Batman, like the Arkham Batman. Alright, now, time to move on to the next story. And the next story is Peacemaker Season 2. Now, Peacemaker Season 2, there was a trailer that came out for it, and my trailer reaction will end up on my Patreon soon, so you guys can watch it there, and it'll be on my YouTube memberships. And I saw the trailer, and I liked what I saw. I wasn't so sure about some of the Justice League characters that we see in the Superman movie, like Hawkgirl and the Green Lantern of that movie. I wasn't quite happy with them being in it. They just feel cheaper in the movie space than they do in the Superman movie space. And not only that, they feel a touch, what's the word I'm looking for? They feel a touch cheap in the Peacemaker show. Like, you feel like in terms of presence, they've gone from movie level to like TV show level. And it feels like they've changed a bit, their characters. Now, granted, we've not seen them in the Superman movie, but just when you watch them in that and how they're presented, it feels like they're definitely on a higher scale. And it's not really much to do with budget, it's more to do with just the way that they're filmed. In the Peacemaker scene, it feels like they're filming a sketch. So I wasn't too fond of that. That being said, everything else in the trailer looked like fun. It's like, if you've seen the first season of Peacemaker and you wanted more, this looks like it's going to give you more. But what I hope they do is further delve into the drama of Peacemaker. Because John Cena, I never knew this about him until I saw the first season of Peacemaker, but he is a fantastic actor. And he's got a lot of range. Something I never knew prior to that Peacemaker season. So I would recommend that you guys watch it if you haven't, because you'll see another side to him in terms of his acting capabilities. And if they continue along that line in the season 2, that'll be great, and I'm looking really forward to it. Big Bash says, haven't seen Peacemaker. Well, I would highly recommend it. It was better than his Suicide Squad movie, I thought. Adam Grantha says, hey, I'm on a work break. Thought I'd stop in. Well, you stopped in at just the right time. We're just talking about Peacemaker. I just talked about what I thought of the trailer. My trailer reaction will be coming up to my Patreon very soon, and my YouTube membership, so you guys can all check that out soon. But yeah, it looks good, and I really hope they delve into more of like the psychological drama within Peacemaker, because that is what I loved the most in the first season. And I hope they really delve into that, because like I said, John Cena is a wonderful actor. He's got a lot of range, and I would like to see them like really delve into that, more of that side of him. And look at that, Eagly is back too. So, yeah. Adam Grunther says, what do you mean? The Suicide Squad was amazing. Yeah, I liked the Suicide Squad. I just said Peacemaker was better. Of the two, I did like Peacemaker a lot better. Tighty Whiteys is... I love that joke in the movie. When he goes, look at you, what are that? Tighty Whiteys? And he's like, now that's just racist. It's funny. The thing is, it's funny when you watch the movie, but when you watch his show, you realize there's something kind of sad about his outlook on those things. Like, they delve into that. It really is surprisingly good, that show. It can get a bit raunchy, though, so keep that in mind, but it is surprisingly good. It's us better than... I think reason for that, he's a villain in the Suicide Squad, but he's the main character of his own show. Yeah, potentially, Adam. Which do you enjoy the most, Peacemaker or US Agent? Oh, Peacemaker, for sure. I feel like with US Agent, it's like they keep trying to develop him, but they just don't have enough time to develop him. And like I said, in Thunderbolts should have been a show. It shouldn't have been a movie. And I feel like if it was a show, they could have given him more time, as well as the other characters. But because it was a movie, and it was only a 2-hour movie, it felt like they had to move along quite quickly, and they couldn't develop all of them, which was a problem to me. So yeah. Yes, Big Bash, Peacemaker is very bloody. It's a very bloody show. Very violent. I'd say it's even more violent than the Suicide Squad movie. Adam Grunter says, I'm hoping, given the multiverse might be a factor, we can see Peacemaker's father as the main villain. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like we'll see what they do, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But my theory about the whole multiverse thing in Season 2 is that James Gunn might try to address what universe Peacemaker is in. Because I think after what happened with the first season, James Gunn has said himself that everything in that first season is canon, except for when the Justice League show up. Now, he can say that to a lot of people, but the thing is, everyone's going to remember that. You can't just forget about that scene. And not everyone's going to know that James Gunn said that's not canon anymore. So I'm wondering if by incorporating the multiverse here, he's gonna try to... I wonder if he's gonna try and address that and say, no, that was a previous universe, now they're on a different one. I wonder if that's what they're gonna do. So we'll have to wait and see. Only time will tell, and we don't have to wait that long. It's coming out in August, and I can't wait to see it. But yeah, that seems like it's gonna be a good fun time. It really does. Adam Grunther says, my best guess is the Peacemaker we see in the end of the trailer is the DCU's Peacemaker. Probably, but I feel like he's not doing the multiverse on a whim here. I feel like it is he's actually trying to clear some things up with it. And I feel like the multiverse potentially could give us a reason as to why some things stay the same way as they are in the DCU as they were in the DCEU. I feel like he's going to try to make that clear in this season. Will you binge Peacemaker Season 2 on Patreon? I'll watch it and react to it on Patreon, yeah. That's what I intend to do. Oh, man. Excuse me. But yeah. Deadwolf says, hope they keep that awesome intro from the first season. They're going to change it. I bet they are, because... some of those characters are not in the show anymore that are in that intro, so they're gonna have to change some things. Hope they keep that awesome intro for the first... Oh, I've already read that. Adam says, I'm also betting the Peacemaker we see at the end is gonna be the main villain. Basically the Peacemaker we saw in the Suicide Squad without his character arc. Ooh, that could be interesting. Yeah, and Peacemaker himself can actually look at... It's like he's looking at himself in the mirror. And he can probably notice, like, was I really like that? Like, maybe he can become ashamed of himself when he sees the a-hole that he is. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Khan says, Eric, did you finally watch Arcane Season 2? And what are your thoughts on it if you watched it? I still haven't seen it. I want to, but I'm just so busy with these videos. I'm making, like, 3 or 4 Versus videos right now. You guys don't know, but I'm actually working on quite a few. And I'm going to try to get as much of those done before the end of this month, when Lilo and Stitch comes out, because that's another Versus video that I'm going to want to do. Adam Grunther, you picked up on something that I was also going to talk about, which was Rick Flag Sr. being in there. When he goes, does he know that I killed his son? Then he goes, yeah. And it's like, oh. So it's like, yeah, Rick Flag Sr. is coming after Peacemaker because he's pissed off that he killed Rick Flag, his son. So that's actually really cool that they're going to do that. But thing is, we know Peacemaker feels bad about it now. So I wonder what that will do. I'm sure Flag Sr. won't care. But the last time we saw Rick Flag Sr. in Creature Commandos, he was in the hospital and he was completely bent out of shape. So I don't think there's any way he could possibly come back and fight Peacemaker unless, I don't know, unless just some silly comic book logic where they say, oh no, he's alright. Kind of like what they did with Peacemaker when they said, yeah, he got shot in the neck, but he survived it. Something like that. Ooh, Big Bash said John Cena would be a fun Sandman in the MCU. He probably could, you know. I think they would have to bring down the comedy a bit, I think. But I think he could play a good Sandman. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Adam Grunther says, this either takes place before Creature Commandos or he got surgery. Okay, now that's going to be a little bit confusing. This takes place before Creature Commandos. I don't know. Given what Rick Flag Sr. goes through in Creature Commandos, it feels like that was a start for his character. So it feels like all the stories should be coming out afterwards now. If they're doing them out of order, I feel like that's just needlessly complicated. Peacemaker versus the Penguin. Which DC show is better? The Penguin. Love Peacemaker, but the Penguin to me is a better show. Creature Commandos takes place before Superman. I'm sure it does, but I'm talking about when Peacemaker... I know Creature Commandos takes place before, but I'm wondering when Peacemaker Season 2 takes place. Because Superman, we've seen set photos of Rick Flag arresting Superman. So Rick Flag Sr. is basically alive and well in there and out of the hospital. So if he's out of the hospital there, it means he'll definitely be out of the hospital in Peacemaker Season 2 if this does take place after Superman, which I'm pretty much assuming it is. Hey Eric, what are your thoughts on the scene of Peacemaker calling out Batman's hypocrisy? How did he call out his hypocrisy? Because I remember he said a lot of stuff about Aquaman and all these other heroes. It was in the first episode, wasn't it? When he was mouthing off to that janitor where he was talking about Batman. What did he say exactly? Oh, right, he did, didn't he? He called Batman a P word. Yeah, no, that's just him going off on one like he does. That doesn't mean that we know Batman is not. That was just probably if Batman was in The Boys and The Boys did make something out of that. They did kind of mention that, but no, not about Batman. That's just him saying silly things, and he always says silly things about superheroes. Remember what he said about Aquaman? So yeah, you're supposed. I don't think you're supposed to take that too seriously, bud. What if the DCU and DCEU bodies merge together for survival? Okay, now we're getting a bit weird. Let's just... I feel like this is where the multiverse can always become problematic, because I feel like they always use it to kind of fix, you know, Hollywood's mistakes, and that's where the multiverse just starts to get less fun and more like homework, and more complicated, and I hope they don't do that. Adam Grunther says Peacemaker has a dumb comment about every superhero. I don't think it's supposed to have any meaning behind it. Yeah, Adam Grunther is right about that. It's not supposed to have any meaning behind it. Yeah, exactly, Batman 235. Go F a fish. Is Peacemaker similar to Deadpool, says Big Bash? No, it's nothing like Deadpool. Deadpool's very much breaking the fourth wall and all that kind of stuff. Peacemaker, actually, he's got his own style of humor. Yeah, there are some scenes that I don't like of the humor where the characters are just bickering with each other. There's a couple funny ones, but then there's others that are less funny, but they feel like they're just doing it anyway. Those are the only scenes that I actually skip when I rewatch Peacemaker, by the way. But yeah, it's nothing like Deadpool. Is everyone going to rewatch Season 1? I probably will. I've seen Season 1 2 or 3 times now. I really have enjoyed it. The only thing I do when I watch it the second or third time, well, the second and third time, is I skip Peacemaker when he's going on when him and his friends are going on those long comedic bickering monologues. It just goes on and on and on, and it's not funny. A couple of them are, but then the others, they just feel like comedy bits. And I wish James Gunn does stop that. I didn't like it much in the first season. And also, I hope he doesn't have any more comedy ruining the emotional parts. There is a part with Peacemaker where he actually breaks down crying, and there's a guy going, "Oh dude, what's going on with your face?" I feel like they should not have done that, because I was ready to actually tear up on that scene. Like, they did such a great job of making it emotional, and then they just ruined it. So I hope they don't do that in the next season. Trevor Bistro says, the Snyder Cut or James Gunn Suicide Squad? The Snyder Cut. I actually like the Snyder Cut a lot, even though I wasn't a fan of Zack Snyder's previous DC movies. Saeed, I don't know what that means. Who would win, Superman or Sentry or Adam Warlock or Thor? I'd say Superman. Oh, Josiah has donated £3 using Streamlabs chat. Thank you very much for that, Josiah. And he asks, what would you rate the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker Season 1? Also, do you like Superman 78? Well, with regards to Superman 78, I've not seen it in years, so I need to see it again in order to know if I'd like it or not. So I can't actually say, but I do plan on seeing it before the new Superman movie comes out, so maybe then I will be able to say whether I like it or not. And what would I rate Suicide Squad and Peacemaker Season 1? Peacemaker Season 1 I'd give a very high 8. Like, it was a very, very good show. And let's see, what score would I give the Suicide Squad? I think I gave it a high 7, if I remember correctly. I think that's what I gave it, I think. But yeah, Peacemaker, that I love that more than the Suicide Squad. Adam says, did you see the mural set photo of Peacemaker, his father, and a third character? I haven't. I didn't see that set photo. Is that in Season 2? Or is that Season 1? Fantastic Four versus the Thunderbolts. Who would win in a fight? The Fantastic Four. Yes, it's in Season 2. Then no, I have not seen it. And I'm kind of glad I've not seen it, because I'm trying to stay away from spoilers. Because like I said, I loved Season 1. And Season 2, I'm very excited. But I want to enjoy it in order. So I want to watch the Superman movie first, then Peacemaker. I'm actually a little bit... I don't like that they've released the trailer for Peacemaker Season 2 so early. I feel like they should have held on to it and released it after Superman came out, because Peacemaker Season 2 is coming out the very next month after, isn't it? So I think it would have made sense if they released the trailer then. Big Bash says Ben 10 versus the MCU, yeah. Are we going to the next story, says Khan. Yep, I guess we can go to the next story. Let me just check here. But yeah, ultimately, I do think they're going to use this whole multiverse plotline in Peacemaker Season 2 to justify why the Justice League were Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa in Season 1. I bet you that's what they're going to do. Alright, now, here's some rather unfortunate news, which... it's such a shame to be hearing this. Now we're going to talk about... DC Studios and their little drama with the Clayface movie. Now, I think this is actually worse news than you might think, and I'll tell you why. Now, this movie was, all this time, it was being written by Mike Flanagan, who was known for doing a lot of horror movies and horror shows. He's done The Haunting of Hill House, he did Doctor Sleep, which I really enjoyed, and he also did Oculus, and he's done many other movies. Some that were good, some not so good. I've always said, with me, I've either really loved his stuff or really, really hated it. There's never been an in-between for me, and I've not seen all his stuff. He's released a lot of TV shows, and I can't catch up with all of them. So, yeah, that's basically what I think of his stuff. But the idea of him doing a standalone Clayface movie is actually really interesting, especially if it's kind of like in the same vein of the Joker movie, the first Joker movie, and the Penguin Show, where they delve into these villains. People compare them to stuff like Kraven the Hunter and Sony's spin-off movies, but I think these are actually way better. They've actually got class to them, and they actually know how to tell a standalone story of these villains. So I like that they were making this movie, and Mike Flanagan was working on the script for a very long time, and it's going to be a horror movie with some body horror in there. However, news has come out that DC Studios is looking to get a new writer to rewrite Clayface, because apparently they think it's not good enough. David Zaslav does. I'm assuming David Zaslav, because he's the one that would basically commission this. I'm assuming he's basically saying that the script is not good enough because he thinks it needs more action, or it needs to be more true to the Clayface from the comic books in order for people to actually want to, go and watch it. That's what I think. But this is where things get weird, because you'll notice that they say that the writer they've got is a man called Hussein Amini. Forgive me if I butchered that name. And it says that and all the articles are saying that he's the Drive writer. Now, what is Drive? Drive is this movie right here. Now, Drive is a movie that I've not seen, but people say a lot of good stuff about it, but I think that's more down to the director rather than the writer, because I also have a list of the writer's other work right here, and let's go through this here. Let's make it bigger so we can see. So the recent things he's written in like the last 10 plus years, like the last 15 years, is some episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which you all know if you've seen my Let's Binge Watch video of that show. I was very disappointed with it. He's done a show called The Alienist, which I've never seen. McMafia, which I've never seen. The Snowman, which is actually known as one of the worst movies ever made. And the reason why is because the movie, they never finished or completed it. They didn't complete the production of it, and somehow they ended up stitching the movie together and releasing it in theaters, even though pivotal parts of the movie were not shot. So The Snowman is an absolute freaking disgrace of a movie, and they decided to just release it anyway, and he did the screenplay, and from what I've heard, it was a terrible movie. Then there's a couple of other things I've never seen, like Our Kind of Traitor and The Two Faces of January. And then there's 47 Ronin, which is a Keanu Reeves movie, a samurai movie he did, where most people, I remember, were giving it bad reviews, I remember at the time. And then we have Snow White and the Huntsman. Again, another movie I've not seen, but has anyone looked at... Basically, aside from Drive, which was done in 2011, so that's like 14 years ago, So I don't know why they keep bringing up Drive. That was something he did like over a decade ago. So take Drive out of the equation. All this stuff that he's got his name attached to is not an impressive list of credentials. So I look at this and I think, how on earth is he supposed to be a good writer to take over from Mike Flanagan and rewrite Mike Flanagan's script? That is just ridiculous and preposterous that they think that Warner Brothers think that we'll bring this guy in to do rewrites. Like, are they freaking high or something? Like, what the hell is wrong with them? That is the wrong decision, and I feel like that can actually damage the movie. If you want to get someone to do rewrites, I feel like you should get a better person to do the rewrites, but not him. But sadly, they got him, and yeah. Now, Batman235 says it's a rumor. Now, yes, it is a rumor, and I do agree, yes, it is a rumor. But I don't know, it feels... Sometimes I just get a vibe when it comes to certain rumors. Like, some of them you're like, oh yeah, that's totally fake. But they gave a name here. They gave a name of this guy. And if you even go on IMDb and you look at the upcoming projects that he's got, it actually shows Clayface on there. So I feel like there might be some weight to this if IMDb is updating it and saying that this is what he's working on. But at the same time, you are right, it is a rumor. But that being said, this sounds like exactly the kind of thing that stupid Hollywood would do. So, to me, I feel like this sounds like the exact kind of wrong decision that they love to make. So that's why I brought this up. It's something which I think they probably have been doing. That being said, if this is true, I don't think if they have this writer, I don't think he's going to come up with a better version of the script. I really don't. So what I think is going to happen is that James Gunn, because he does look at these scripts, he's going to look at it, he's going to see it's not up to the level of quality that it should be at, and then what he's going to say is, okay, just cancel it. I feel like it's going to go through a lot of rewrites, all of which are going to be bad, and then in the end they're going to say just cancel the movie. It's going to be going through some kind of production hell, and I feel like it's just going to just get cancelled. So that's what I think is going to happen. Because this is not a movie that is high on their list of priorities, quite frankly, when you take into account everything else they're trying to do with this universe. So I think they probably will just end up cancelling it, if I'm being honest with you. What do you guys think of that? Khan says, honestly, at this point, Warner Brothers are just sabotaging themselves. First it was the Mortal Kombat one, now with this movie, apparently. Dark Lord says, well, time for me to pay David Zaslav a visit. Who wants in? Production hell is always a bad sign, says the G-Gamer. Yep. It's never a good thing. Garrett says, is he your favourite Batman villain? No, he's not my favourite Batman villain. My favourite Batman villain is always Joker, but he's one of my favourite villains. But the thing is, Batman's got so many great villains, so many of Batman's villains are my favourite villains. Batman235 says DC Studios is its own thing. Khan says, well, at this point, Eric, just cancel it. I don't care for the movie, just cancel it. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But the thing is, I hope in the movie they were actually going to have him turn into Clayface. Like the monster that he is, that James Gunn has shown him as in one of his recent projects. I won't say the name of it. But he has shown what his Creature Commandos... he has shown what his Clayface is supposed to look like. So, ultimately, it needs to end up looking like that. It can't be a lower budget human looking version like what we got in Batman the Caped Crusader show. So yeah, Joker is so overused as Big Bash. Yeah, he is, but there's a reason for that. It's because he is far better than all the other Batman villains. Does Clayface look like the animated series version? It's hard to say. We haven't seen anything yet, so we don't know. Alright. We're in the Q&A now, so if you guys have any questions you wish to ask me, now is the time. Batman says, why do I keep repeating the Superman sneak peek over and over, Eric? Well, it's probably because I'm addicted. Well, it's because you really like it. And just you wait, you don't have to wait long, you'll get something else to rewatch over and over with Superman. I'm doing good, the Dark Lord, thanks for asking. Oh, Fireboy is leaving. Okay, good night, Fireboy, and happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. Ewan McGregor as Clayface? I think not. Because he played Black Mask, didn't he? And he did a horrible job at that. But then again, on the page, it was pretty crap what they wrote for him. The Superman trailer is this week on Wednesday or Thursday. Ooh, that's cool. Saeed says, apparently Spider-Man 4 is going to be a street level and soft reboot of the franchise. I don't think it is. From what I heard, it takes place after Avengers Doomsday, and it's going to tie in to Secret Wars, and it seems like it's going to be another big kind of movie. It's not going to be a street level one. That's not what I've not heard that it's going to be street level. I've heard it's going to be big. Big Bat says, Eric, did the animated series voice actors play their characters in the Arkham games? Yes, they did. Some of them were changed, but the key players, like Batman, Batman, Joker, Harley, at least Harley in the first Arkham game, they were the original voices, yeah. Batman235 says, the Arkham games have the best Batman scores ever to exist. They do, but at the same time, having said that, I have been, I just recently, hold on, well, I say just recently, just last night, bear with me, let me just connect this wire. There you go. Just last night, I got myself these, just temporarily, the earphones, basically, because I normally don't trust these types of earphones, because they're usually expensive or just not very good, but I basically got this just recently, and I was like, you know what, I want to use these in-ear earphones when I go out and about, and what I did is I listened to these with some bass-heavy Christopher Nolan music from his movies, and I listened to the Batman Begins Batmobile chase sequence, as well as a lot of music from The Dark Knight, and it sounds, as far as Batman music goes, that brought back memories for me. So I love the Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard music for the Batman movies too. Captain Eric Fortnite skin, that's funny. Big Bash says, what was it like playing Arkham Asylum for the first time? Playing it for the first time was unbelievable. Just the feeling of control, feeling like you're able to fight the way you do with Batman was just unbelievable. I wish I could feel playing the free flow combat again for the first time, but I just can't. I'm just too used to it now, and I'm too good at it, I feel now as well, because I've played it for probably the game I've played the most in my life, I think, is the Batman Arkham games and the challenge maps, as well as another game called Unreal Tournament, which is my favorite game of all time, the 1999 one. So yeah, I've done a lot of put a lot of hours into those, and unfortunately I don't feel like I feel like I'm just too used to the Batman Arkham games now. It doesn't feel special like it used to anymore, and that is a shame. So I hope the rumors of them remaking the Batman Arkham Asylum like they did with like some other games like Dead Space and stuff, I really hope that remake idea is true. So hopefully they can refresh the combat a little bit to make it a bit more fresh feeling. Time Shadow says, did you get my response to the email you sent me yesterday, Eric? Yes, I did. I just need to find a way to verbalize what I'm looking for and send it to you. That's the reason I didn't. And also because I'm working on 3 other Versus videos right now, and I'm writing the 4th one. So I got a bit busy. But yeah, we'll see if it can get done, because I'm on a very tight schedule. But at the same time, if it can't, I'll give you something else to do, because this video that I'm actually going to do, I'm going to try to get it done as soon as possible, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I can throw some stuff your way and see if even if they're smaller little projects, I'm gonna see if I can send those to you and see what can happen. Oh, Sarah, I thought you had already left because you were very quiet in the chat. She's gonna head out. All right then, Sarah. Thank you very much for joining the stream. I really appreciate it. Take care and good luck on the merch ideas that you do. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do. So yeah, thanks very much for all that, and thanks for joining. Okay, hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed the stream, Sarah. Oh, she says amazing stream as always, and I'll try to make it to the next one. Really look forward to seeing you again next week, Sarah. I think I speak for all of us when I say that. So, take care. We'll see you next week. Big Bash, I'm aware that Force Unleashed takes place after Order 66, unless you're talking to someone else. What's my favorite Force ability in Star Wars? I love the Force Push or Force Grip. That was it. Force Grip, where you just throw people left and right, and then you string combos together with it, and you use lightning, and you choke people. In the PS2, Wii, and PSP versions, you can actually choke them as well, which you can't do in the 360, PS3, and console versions. Sorry, the 360, PS3, and PC versions. What did Garrett say? What's a movie a lot of people like that you don't? Pick a bunch of Marvel movies. I don't like Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming I thought was just felt like a Nickelodeon Spider-Man movie. It did. So I wasn't a fan of that. That's probably one of the big ones, I'd say. What did Goat say? Eric, how did he get your email? Oh, you're talking about the Time Shadow. The Time Shadow has been doing some has been helping me on the channel. He's been doing some editing work. So that Daredevil Born Again reaction video that you saw, that was edited by the Time Shadow. I edited some of the cuts at the beginning, and I put a couple of touches in at the end, like the bit of music and stuff. But the whole reaction that you see me reacting to the episode, he did the editing for that. So he did a really wonderful job too, and I'm thinking of doing more of doing more of those. So the Time Shadow is going to help me out on those, and we'll see where my ideas go for reaction-based videos. But I'm going to consider doing more of them at some point, and if I do, he's my editor for it, and he's doing a wonderful job. So yeah, I'm very strongly considering getting him to do that. Thanks again, Time Shadow, for that, by the way. You did a wonderful job. And I want to give you more stuff, but I need to find some kind of strategy for giving you things, so they're less random. Goat, I've not seen My Neighbor Totoro. Yes, I did, Big Bash. She goes, did you know Ron Perlman voiced Clayface in Batman the Animated Series? Yes, I did know. And not only that, he also voiced Slade in the Teen Titans show, which to me is his best role. Yeah, Big Bash, I knew that Ozai was voiced by Mark Hamill. I was aware. Have you ever seen Pan's Labyrinth? I watched it a few nights ago and it's really good. I saw a review, but I wanted to watch it when I was a kid, but I was too young to watch it. But no, I've never seen it. I'll consider watching it. Would you guys want to see my reaction to it? If so, that could end up on Patreon at some point if you want. Have I ever seen Transformers Prime? Transformers Prime, I don't think I have. I've seen a couple of Transformers shows, but I don't think Prime is the one. My thoughts on Regular Show. I like Regular Show, but a lot of the episodes, they always start out really fun in the first half. Then the second half, they always get crazy. It's like the show got high all of a sudden. Like the Jinx episode, I loved the first half where it was just Mordecai jinxing Rigby and punching him the whole time. And it was hilarious. But then the second half just got really supernatural and silly. Eric, do you love how bright and colourful Corn Sweat's suit is compared to Cavill's? Yes, I do, but I don't like how baggy and loose it is. Have you ever watched 1984? Let me take a look. What is that? 1984. It sounds familiar. Oh wow, 1984 was actually made in 1984. I thought it was just called 1984. No, I've not seen it. Is it a good movie? So he says, hey Eric, have you heard of Spider-Man's theme in the Born Again finale where Matt and Karen were talking near the end? Yeah, I've heard there was one point I heard the theme a couple times, I felt like, but yeah, I think that's hinting that they're gonna bring him in the next season maybe, which is better than bloody teasing freaking, I said this in my Patreon reaction video, it's gonna be far better than them teasing freaking Miss Marvel showing up to cross over with Daredevil. That was bloody embarrassing, that was. It just goes to show you why Marvel is sucking with choices like that. Time Shadow, so yeah, I did hear about that, basically, yeah. I hope if they bring him in the next season, I hope Kingpin beats the crap out of Spider-Man and he's bleeding all over the place. Like, that is a way of showing that Peter Parker will be the first PG-13 MCU character to go into the dark side of the MCU that is rated R, and then he can tell stories about how much of a messed up place it is. So that would be cool. Did you ever used to play Spider-Man the movie game with the PS2? No, I wanted to as a kid, but I never got to. Eventually, we tried to find ways of playing it on our computer when we were kids, but I never got that far in it. But I do have it on my Steam Deck now. I've put it on the Steam Deck, and it's on my, I think it's on the GameCube section, or was it the PlayStation 2 section, where I've got games on there. And yeah, I'm gonna play through it at some point. I've beaten Spider-Man 2 for the for the GameCube. I've also beaten, it was, another Spider-Man game, I think. Ultimate Spider-Man, yeah, on the GameCube. I beat that as well, on the Steam Deck. And now I'm playing through Web of Shadows. I've taken a bit of a break because it gets a bit tedious, I feel. But yeah, I'm going through that now. We'll have to see, Saeed, if it does that. Batman235 says, bye, Eric. I'm gonna go to bed now. See you July 11. See you July 11. Look up. No problem, buddy. I feel like I want to go to bed now too. So take care. What are your thoughts on Arkham Knight? I like Arkham Knight a lot. I've played it about 2-3 times, I think. Once on my PlayStation 4. The other time, I think, on my Steam Deck. I don't know if I played it again on the PS4, but yeah. I think I played it 2 times, probably. But yeah, I really enjoy it. The Batmobile gets really annoying at several points, though, so that's unfortunate. Time Shadow says, to this day, it's still worth playing. Such a good game. That's good to know. And it's good to know that it is still a fun game, because I do want to play it at some point. Big Bash says Arkham Knight is the best looking game of all time, and I've got to agree. Like, Batman Arkham Knight, to this day, looks better than most modern games that come out. Like, when Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League came out, or Gotham Knights, people were comparing them, PS5 games, people were comparing them to Arkham Knight, and showing just how, which was on the PS4, and showing how Arkham Knight has so much better graphics than, the PS5 versions of these games from Rocksteady. I don't know, Time Shadow. That sounds like quite a lot of a commitment. It's one thing to play a game yourself when you're chilling out. it's another when you've got people watching you. It feels more like work at that point, I think. Like you just don't want to mess up in front of people, or if you get bored, you can't stop the game, whatever. You know, for me, I like to do that a lot. So yeah. I do want to play a game for you guys to see me play, but I want it to be something a bit more familiar, or something that I feel like I can show you guys and talk about and give you memories of my childhood about. And I don't really have memories of that Spider-Man game. I've not heard about Shrek 5 rumors, Khan. The PS3 and PS4 were the best consoles ever made. I never owned the PS3, but yeah, it had many amazing games on it at the time. The PS4, that was my first big console. Like, not a DS or PSP, but my first proper big console. And yeah, that was a great time to be a gamer. It was just disappointing that there wasn't enough good Star Wars games on it because EA were just faffing around. Matthew says, a lot of people don't like the story of Arkham Knight. Yeah, and I was one of them. I didn't hate it, but I was disappointed by it. So yeah, I was very disappointed by the story, and that's because Paul Dini was not writing it, so they got another writer. So it definitely feels like the storytelling has gone down, but I still enjoy the story. It's certainly better than the stories we're getting now with a lot of these games, especially on the DC side. Oh, you're going on vacation near the end of the month, Saeed. That's great. I hope you enjoy yourself. Killick says, ready for GTA 6 next year. I don't know, because we'll see if I play it or not. Time Charter says, did you ever used to play any Harry Potter games? Order of the Phoenix was always my favourite. Yes, I did. I played Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, but it was on my Nintendo DS. It was an RPG, but a very accessible one to newcomers of the RPG genre. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I used to play that a lot, and I beat the game as well. It wasn't on the big console versions though, although I hear on the console versions and the DS version, it's like a running simulator because you do a lot of running throughout the castle. But yeah, I did have a cousin who I think it was the Half-Blood Prince. He had it on the Wii, and where we would do multiplayer, going like this to shoot spells at each other. And that was fun. I think it was the Half-Blood Prince, that one, or the Order of the Phoenix. I don't know. Whichever one had the multiplayer gameplay where you could do that. That's what it was. Did you play the Shrek 2 game? No, again, I wanted to, but I couldn't. But I did play Shrek, the go-kart game, on the iPod Touch back in the day, you know, on the iOS App Store. That was a lot of fun. Connor says, hey Eric, didn't catch you last week, but I saw Thunderbolts not too long ago, and I liked it better than Brave New World. I liked it better than Brave New World as well. I reviewed it, was it last week? I think I did, yeah. I enjoyed it a heck of a lot more than Brave New World. Connor says, speaking of vacation, I'm heading to New York on the 24th. Oh, cool. Hope you have a great time there, bud. My brother-in-law just went to New York recently for work purposes, so it's interesting that now you're going to go too. Time Shadow says, there's a lot of running in that one, but it feels like a really realistic Hogwarts experience. Yeah, but the problem with that game was not only it definitely did feel like a realistic Hogwarts experience, but it was a lot of empty hallways and a lot of empty corridors and everything. Whereas if you look at Hogwarts Legacy, the whole castle, there's a lot of students around, there's a lot of decorations around, you have the room of requirements, and there's a lot of interactions going around. It feels like the school is alive. In Order of the Phoenix, it was just a lot of running around empty places and things. It was quite disappointing in that regard. But back then, I don't think we really thought too much of it. I think we just accepted it back in those days, because it still was quite impressive back then to be able to go through a whole school like that. But yeah, I always wanted to play the Harry Potter games as a kid, and we got the first one for PC, but I found it too difficult, and it didn't seem like it was very much mimicking the movie as much as I would have wanted it to, because it was taking a long time to go through stuff, and I didn't know where to go, which was also horrible. But yeah, it was interesting. But I always wanted to play the Chamber of Secrets, but especially the the Prisoner of Azkaban as a kid with the Dementors. That looked so fun, and I got that game on my first Steam Deck, and I played it a little, but not really much. So I need to go through that as well. I think there's just so much games I want to play, and I don't have the time to go through them. That's the unfortunate reality of it. Goat says, I'm going to Greece on June 7 or June 6, and school ends on June 13. Ah. A lot of people... And Saeed says, I'm going to Morocco. A lot of you have got plans to be travelling around. A few months ago, I travelled... you guys know, I travelled to Birmingham to go see a orchestra. So that was my idea of a vacation, although I know it's not quite a vacation. I don't know if I've ever properly gone on a vacation, you know, like that kind where you go away and all that. I don't think I have. Big Bash says, I miss when games were polished on launch. I hate how patches are even a thing. Yeah, me too. It was so much cooler when games were patched when they were launched, but now, yeah, they release them broken, and they're more expensive. And so is your console was more expensive. And yeah, to see him in that state is very disheartening. Goat says there's 104 days of summer vacation. The Time Shadow says the console version is quite different. It does have a lot more activity going on. You get to play wizard's chess and exploring snap and help other students out with a lot of tasks. Oh, okay, cool. Because I saw gameplay of it, it still looked like it was quite dull looking, like a lot of brown colours and things. Which was kind of how the Half-Blood Prince looked. That was a very bad-looking movie, that was. Oh, that's interesting. Matthew says Shrek 5 is about Shrek travelling to the real world. So they're going to get out of the fairy tale world that they're already in. Is that what's going to happen? Because I feel like they became humans. They became human already, didn't they? In the second movie, Shrek became human and Donkey became, you know, a stallion, didn't he? A noble steed or whatever. So... yeah, we'll see how it goes. I wonder if that means they turn human. Charles says, I'm going to have to go now. I'm getting tired. Have a good one, Eric. Take care, Charleston. Thank you for joining the stream. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be ending the stream in about 15 minutes. So, yeah, that's how much longer we'll be on stream for. Oh, you mean it's going to be live action? Oh, when you said real world, I thought you meant a real world that's non-fairy tale. I didn't think you meant that it's going to bring the real actors in. How are they going to do that if it's going to be live action? Who even wants to see that? That sounds like what, you know, like stuff like the He-Man movie did a long time ago, or certain other movies have done. So they're trying to go with the Enchanted thing, are they? No, Said, I've not seen any movies in 4DX. I do want to give it a go at some point, but just out of curiosity's sake. But regardless, I feel like the normal movie-going experience is good enough for me, but I do want to give it a go at some point. Yeah, Big Bash, I did hear about that. I did hear that Lord Farquaad could be in Shrek 5, so that would be interesting. Saeed says, I watched it in Twisters and Jurassic World and it was epic. That's good. Because I've heard a lot of people talk about how it just shakes your chair a lot and how that's just a horrible experience, I've heard people say. Imagine if Lord Farquaad was the Emperor in Star Wars. That sounds funny, that does. But I don't think he would have survived for as long if he was. I mean, I'm trying to think what would happen if Lord Farquaad actually enslaved all the fairy tale creatures. Like, imagine if Shrek and friends all go into a world where that is the case. I wonder what happens. Goat, that's hard to say how many movies I've watched that came out in 2025. I can't put a number to that. Killick says, I'm heading out, Eric. See you later. No problem, buddy. Take care. Thanks for joining the stream, as always. I look forward to seeing you next week. Killick says... not Killick. Where is it? Saeed, he says, I fell out of my seat a number of times when watching Twisters. What, because of 4DX? Did it actually knock you out of your seat? That's insane. Super Michael has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very much for that, bud. He says, which is your favorite, regular show or Ed, Ed, and Eddie? Oh, Ed, Ed, and Eddie, without a doubt. Regular show is good, but I watched that when I got a lot older. Ed, Ed, and Eddie was like, I think, the first Cartoon Network show that I saw when we went onto the channel. And, man, like, Ed and Eddie is something that I love that. And the movie, the Ed, Ed, and Eddie movie, it's one of the only Cartoon Network shows of that era that actually had a definitive, proper ending, which is kind of sad. I wish they all had endings. I think Foster's had an ending, but it didn't really feel like an ending. It just felt like it just stopped. But Ed, Ed, and Eddie had like a movie to end it, and it had a big, epic action sequence in the opening, and it was a bit horror-like in the opening, like in a funny, cartoony way, but there was a lot of tension in that opening. Oh, you mean you almost fell off? Okay, almost fell out of your seat. Literally had to drop the back of the handles hard. Oh, had to hold the back of the seat handles hard. Deadwolf says, got to get going now. See you and everybody next week. Had a great stream. I'm glad you enjoyed it, buddy. Take care. Thanks for joining. Goat says, what is 4DX? 4DX is where they basically tried to make the movie not just 3D, but 4D. So I think you have the glasses, if I'm right. But as well as that, they also put a certain aroma, kind of like smell, in the room. So when certain things are happening on screen, they'll try to mimic the smell of what you're seeing on screen. And if there's like water like going all over the characters, you'll have some water splashed on you a little. And then also you'll have the chair like shake, like say if a T-Rex stamps his foot, the chair will shake a little as the T-Rex does it. So that's 4DX. Ooh, Saeed says, I'm planning on watching Superman in 4DX because I heard the action scenes is inspired by Top Gun. I heard that too, but I don't know if it was the action scenes that was inspired by Top Gun. It was the flying scenes were inspired by Top Gun. That's what they said, the flying scenes. Connor says, all these childhood shows never got proper endings. Teen Titans, Teenage Robot, Powerpuff Girls. I can give you plenty more. Billy and Mandy. Billy and Mandy, Robot Boy, Robot Jones. And did SpongeBob ever end? But yeah, but there's plenty of cartoons that, like Johnny Test. Like, there's plenty of cartoons that just never got a proper definitive ending, which is kind of sad. Dexter's Laboratory as well. Super Michael has done another $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Super Michael. He says, which is your favourite, SpongeBob or Fairly Odd Parents? Ooh, that's a very good question. I haven't seen Fairly Odd Parents in a long time, so... But SpongeBob has got some good episodes, but it's also annoying. There's only so much of it you can watch. I would say the Fairly Odd Parents is what I liked the most. That was a really good show. And now I've also got a $5 super chat from Big Bash. Where are all these super chats coming from? Thank you very much, because you guys know how much they help, so thanks a lot. Big Bash says, would you watch a movie or show about Jar Jar Binks after Order 66, Eric? Probably not. I mean, if it was the Clone Wars crew doing it, even then I would have second doubts, because Jar Jar was in the Clone Wars, and he was... It's almost like they made him deliberately try to make him more annoying, but they made everyone else find him annoying too. It depends what they're going to do. If it's to do with the drama, then yeah, sure. I'd like to see how Jar Jar, what happened to him after Order 66? Did he get upset or sad? Because, those are some of his friends too, essentially, that got killed off. Like Padme, Anakin went to the dark side. What did this do to him, I wonder? So yeah, I would like to... If it's a bonus thing, then yeah, sure, I would watch Jar Jar in in a post-Order 66 kind of like thing. Or even during Order 66. Where was he when the Jedi were getting shot down? That would have been cool to see. Matthew says, as a Canadian, it's good Johnny Test is over. Big Bash, that was your first super chat. Oh, well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've heard that, Super Michael. The first SpongeBob movie is technically supposed to be like the canon ending. Let me think. What was I mentioning? Yeah, SpongeBob is still going. Time Shadow, we've got 8 minutes left on the stream, then I'm going to end, so that's how long we've got. Now let's see, Johnny Test, yeah, Johnny Test, where's the comment from the person that said Johnny Test as a Canadian? Matthew said Johnny Test is over, it's good that it's over. Thing is, they've got, I think Netflix liked it, because Netflix have their own Johnny Test show, which is, got the same voice actors, I think, but it's got, it's different animation style, and it doesn't look as good as the previous one, it's not as funny as the previous one, but hey, Netflix have got their own version, I suppose. Would love to see Dave Filoni adapt Dark Disciple novel. Would love to see Dave Filoni adapt Dark Disciple novel to an animated series. Yeah, I've heard good stuff about that novel. Saeed says, I recommend everyone to try 4DX, but only choose movies that you think will be great, and it has to be action-packed, otherwise it's pointless. Yeah, because they charge you a lot for a ticket, I've heard, and you gotta watch a movie that, you know, pulls out all the stops. But is it distracting? Like, can you be like, at some points, okay, seats, can you just stop? Or the 4DX, can you just stop for a second so I can just properly watch and pay attention? Like, do you ever get moments like that? Is it ever overly aggressive? Because I've heard some people say that it can get overly aggressive and just distracting. Man, Super Michael, you are being so generous with these super chats. Where are these super chats coming all of a sudden? It's like they're all coming now in the last 5 minutes. Super Michael says, wouldn't it be cool if they made a Star Wars trilogy taking place thousands of years in the past, and the galaxy was a futile system? I feel like all these are cool ideas, but I feel like there should be two timelines they focus their attention on right now. One is post Order 66, you know, after Star Wars Episode 3, because there was a huge chunk of time between 3 and 4. So if they want to tell stories in there, you know, a la Clone Wars style, by all means, go for it. I'm there for it. And even Andor kind of like takes place in that area as well. So I'd say, yeah, go for it. But if it comes to... oh yeah, so that's the first timeline. The second timeline that they should take advantage of is the modern timeline, you know, after Episode 6, which is when Ahsoka takes place, and show how Thrawn and the bad guys are going to try to rebuild the Empire. So it should focus on those two timelines. I feel like it needs to start making some leeway on those timelines first before it starts introducing other timelines. But that's my personal opinion on it. Saeed says, yes, it slows down when there are dialogues. And it slows down when it needs to. My gosh, I made a mistake by not making it in there. Alright, okay. Goat says, I like your cut. Oh, I'm glad you like my cut. Yeah, new hair, new beard. So, well, new cuts on both. Thanks, Big Bash. I'm glad you like the beard. I'm glad you like the cut, Goat. Big Bash says, I trimmed my beard the other day as well. Yeah. Gonna get my cut before New York. Good idea, Connor. Very good idea. Uh-oh. I'm feeling an itch coming along in my nose. You know what that means. Ah, Trevor says, was thinking about seeing Mission Impossible on 4DX or IMAX. That would be a good one to see, I think. Although, the more I think about it, I think Saeed is onto something with Superman on 4DX. That sounds fun the more I think about it. The G-Gamer says, excited for future videos and currently have some plans in mind. Cool. Good luck on that, bud. Or are you saying you're excited for my future videos or for your future videos? Connor says, I cannot wait for the final reckoning. Me neither. In fact, my parents, they don't watch movies in the cinema anymore, but even they're waiting to go see Mission Impossible in the cinema. Saeed says, when there's slow scenes or people talking, the seat stops or slows down. Okay, that's cool. Man, what's it going to be like for a horror movie where jump scares happen? Does that mean your seat starts to suddenly just move very quickly Or does it preempt you and let you know that there's a slight rumble, meaning a jump scare's gonna come on? 3 minutes and then the stream is gonna end, guys. So if you've got any of your questions you want to ask, now is the time to ask them. Also, did Courage the Cowardly Dog get an ending? I don't think that got a proper ending either. Connor says it better do better at the box office than Dead Reckoning, because Barbenheimer sank that movie's sales. Yeah, it did, which is unfortunate. And I think that's the reason why this is the last movie. Because of that. So I'm hoping it does well. I really am, because we could have got even more Mission Impossible movies as the years go by, but because Barbenheimer, we're not getting another one. This seems to be the last one. Khan says, so Eric, were there any sponsorships that have been offered? Well, I'm talking to one sponsor right now. We'll see where that goes. And we've sent a bunch of emails off, which we need to wait for responses on next week. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Syed says, and when action scenes comes, the seat builds up to that moment. Garrett says, do you think the Harry Potter TV show will have the same impact as the 8 movies? No, not for a second. I don't think it will. You could tell when you look at the writers and stuff and what some of the writers have said. It's supposed to be a very simple thing. Just adapt the book like for like into a TV show. But instead, you got a writer who said that I've not read all the books. I think he stopped after book 1 or something. And he goes, but I'm looking forward to adding my own things to the season. It's like, well, first of all, why didn't you read the book? Second of all, no one gives a crap about what you want to write. If people cared about what you wanted to write, then you would be a big name. But the reason he's not a big name is because he hasn't written anything that anyone would want to see. And I don't think he has any credits to his name either. So if he wants to change something, then do that on his own time with a different project. But you don't do that with Harry Potter, where J.K. Rowling is a far better writer than he is. She's written something that has taken off worldwide. That is what they should be adapting. He shouldn't be trying to add his own stuff, which is going to be stuff made up. It's going to be tacked on, and it's just going to be worse. It's not going to be anywhere near as good as the original stuff. So yeah, the original stuff is going to be... The original movies are going to be far better. But I think even the books are far better than the movies. So yeah, this could have been cool. I would have been really excited if it was actually going to do, like, you know, cover the books in depth with 4, 5, 6, and 7 in particular. But now, no, it's not going to happen. It's because the one criticism everyone had, even back in the day, is that the movies kept cutting stuff out. So I always thought that, oh, it would be a good idea if we could have a Harry Potter show. But back in the day, no one was making streaming shows with big budgets like they are now. So it was never going to happen. But now that they're doing big budget TV shows on streaming, Harry Potter, I think, is the perfect show to adapt. Because now that you can cover everything, you don't have to miss anything or cut stuff out like the movies did, because you're not limited on runtime. So I think it's actually a great idea to make a Harry Potter show. But the thing is, you need to adapt it correctly from the source material. But it sounds like these writers that are coming in want to add their own stuff. And that's only a recipe for disaster. Casting Snape as a black person as well. You guys know I don't like race bending when it feels forced, and in this case it feels forced. And there was actually a video, and it was a black man that said this, and it went on, I think it went viral on Instagram or TikTok. And he says that by changing this, you're changing too much. Harry's dad was supposed to bully Snape when when they were in Hogwarts. But the thing is, they were kids, and Harry's dad was just meant to be a bully. But now, because they've made Snape black, what's the first thing people are going to think when Harry's dad starts bullying Snape? They're going to think he's a racist. That's what they're going to be looking at first, is that he is a racist. And they're also going to look at Harry and say, of all his teachers, he's very suspicious of the black one. Like, that's also not going to look good. That's going to be going on people's minds. And it's not supposed to be that way. It's just meant to be so simple. Not to mention that Snape loved Harry's mother, but ultimately she ended up going with his bully. But imagine what it will look like if it turns out that it looks like she ends up going with Snape's racist bully. All of a sudden they're changing too many things that don't need to be changed, but they're changing the context a lot and the subtext. And that guy that I said that did the video, he did a very good job of it. And he even says back when he was reading the Harry Potter books when he was a kid, and all these people of different races and everything were lining up to buy the books at midnight when they were gonna launch. He says none of them ever said the characters don't look like me. They don't have these, they're not my ethnicity or anything. He goes, everyone just cared about the stories, and that's what they should be trying to do with Harry Potter in particular. But they're not. They're making these alterations. They're hiring writers that haven't even read the books and want to add their own stuff. It just seems like a mess. It should be so simple, but it seems like a mess. Oh, look at that. Adam Grunther has popped back into the chat. What does he say? I still don't think making a TV show was necessary to begin with. Taking out the fact that JK is a disgusting human being, we've seen 8 movies. How much Potter content do we really need? I actually, like I said, I think that there is a space for it. If they adapted it correctly, like the full book versions, then I would say it would be great, but they're not doing it right, so yeah, now it makes it pointless. Personally, I'm not supporting this show, purely out of principle. J.K. Rowling does not deserve another penny. For me, what really buggered me about is what there's the stuff that she was coming out with about, you guys know, about the Palestine situation. I was like, where are you coming from with these stuff? You sound like just a normal, like just a Zionist. Nothing she said had any logic to it, and it was just ridiculous. And she came across as incredibly bitter about it. And how she can have write evil characters in Harry Potter and then support the evil characters in real life that resemble the evil characters in her books that she says were the bad guys. I just don't know what to say about these people, and she's not the only one. Time Shadow says it should have been just a TV series back in the day to begin with. No, because TV shows back in the day did not have the budgets that movies used to get, so it couldn't be done back in the day. It wouldn't have been as memorable or visually as amazing as it was as those movies were. But now, in this day and age, you can pull that off. So it's a great idea to me, I think. But it's just that they're just doing it all wrong. That's what it is. Connor says, the ride at Epic Universe is miles better than the news about the show. Yep. Matthew says, I just got birthday cake for my birthday. Oh, cool. Happy birthday. Or happy early birthday if it's not your birthday. Adam, what did you just say? I was about to read your comment. It just disappeared. Electrify has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. I really appreciate it. He says, have you seen Fantastic Beasts 1? How was it? Fantastic Beasts 1, I didn't like it the first time I saw it. But then I saw it a second time a while later on my projector. And I did actually enjoy it more. I was like, this is a nice, fun, one-off kind of journey in the world of Harry Potter. And I enjoyed it a lot more in that respect. The second movie was not good, but I loved the music in it. And I thought Johnny Depp did a great job. I actually said this back in the day. I said his performance was much more pulled back, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Because usually he's very Johnny Depp-like and Jack Sparrow-like, or the Mad Hatter-like. So to see him play a more disturbing character here, one that was much more pulled back, I really enjoyed that. And it was sad that they didn't bring him back in the next movie. It would have made so much more money if they did bring him back. Adam says, it was another jab at JK, but I decided to remove it to not bring in politics. God knows she wouldn't do this. She wouldn't do the same. Time Shadow says, whilst I do condone anything J.K. Rowling has said, while I don't condone anything J.K. Rowling has said, and I think she's ruining her own reputation, I do believe in separating the art from the artist. Time Shadow, I believe in that too, but I feel like it's a case-by-case basis. It just depends. Like with Amber Heard, her situation, no one wants to watch any movie with her in it after that. And there are other actors that also go through that. I feel like Gal Gadot is going through that, and I'm kind of on that side as well, where I just can't... I'll separate it, what she's done in terms of reviewing her performance. Like in my upcoming Snow White versus video, I do talk about her performance. But I can't forgive what she has done. And if it wasn't for my job of reviewing stuff, of being a journalist and reviewing these movies that I do, I wouldn't have even covered it. And I wouldn't have even watched it for myself, but I did just for the videos that I'm doing. Adam says she's making money from said art, so I can't support it. I don't know which art that is. Here's the thing. I hear some bits and pieces from these celebrity gossip stuff, but I don't look into them in detail. So the art thing that you're mentioning, I don't even know what that art is. Oh, you mean Potter? Oh, you mean the books and all that? Well, the books that I have, I already own them from a long time ago. Here's the one thing, I don't know about you guys, this is one way I look at stuff when it comes to these artists that you end up hating when you find out about them later on, is that of course, again, it's a case-by-case basis and it depends, but the Harry Potter books, which I actually have right beneath my feet and under this stool, these books I've owned since before 2007. 2007 is when the 7th book came out. So we've owned these from like 2004 to 2007. And for me, they represent a lot about the memories we had at the time and the Harry Potter fandom of the time. And now they're like, for me, they're like collectibles. You can't buy these versions of the books anymore. So I love them in that way. And in my head, J.K. Rowling was not those things back in the time. So it feels like when I pick up a Harry Potter book, it feels like it's of that time. I see the wear and tear on the book that I have from the old time we got it from, all those years ago, those 20 years ago. And for me, I'm able to like separate her from that. I feel like my memories of that book that we've got kind of like overshadow anything to do with her. So that's not a weird thing, but it's something that for me doesn't bother me. Now with certain other things, I feel like it possibly could, but it just depends. Am I still watching Fantastic Four? Yeah, I will still watch Fantastic Four when it comes out. The G Gamer goes, you mean you can separate the art from the artist? Like I said, it's a case-by-case basis. It depends. Connor says, even when it's, like 2050, I hope we all still have childhood possessions. I still have a lot of childhood possessions as well. Adam says, I was personally a Lord of the Rings fan. I was a fan of both, but as a kid, I was a bigger fan. I was a huge fan of Lord of the Rings too, but as a kid, I was a bigger fan of Harry Potter. It came at just the right time for all of us, and it was really interesting programming to show children, essentially, and then it got us to read books as well, which as kids, we never liked reading books, but it got us into reading. So there's a lot of things which I feel like Harry Potter has kind of helped me in doing, and in many ways, I love the way it was written. My brother has actually taken inspiration from that writing style many years ago when it comes to, so he actually is trying to write a book. And that's how part of where he took his writing inspiration from. So I have very good memories of them. G-Game says, I remember that video you made with Harry Potter game, and yeah, just people can't force others to boycott. It's up to them to choose. It is up to them to choose. So that's why, even though I say my part, there's nothing wrong with saying your part, but you should not yell at someone who gets someone else's work. But at the same, you never yell at them. But if they support them, that's a different thing. Like they say, yep, I support every single thing they say, and you should too, and all that. Then it's a separate matter. Exactly, Adam Grunther. Adam says, it is up to them to choose, but I'm choosing to boycott it. Exactly. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, Movie King, musicians especially, people separate the art from the artist. Justin Bieber, Kanye West, yeah, Cardi B, many of them. Connor says, I still own my Wii U. I've held on to it for over 12 years. Connor, that might make you, like, one of the only, like, 50 people who bought that thing. But that's good, because with the Wii U, you can play also Wii games, so that means you also have a Wii on your hands, technically. And if you've got the Virtual Console on it, you can play other types of games too. But yeah, no, I have fond memories too. I still have my PSP and my Nintendo DS. My PSP in particular, I've still got all the games for it too. In this drawer, I've shown them before, like my Ben 10 games and things, and Star Wars: The Force Unleashed and stuff. So yeah, there's plenty of games that I still own, and a lot of possessions I still own. I've still got, believe it or not, when I was at the nursery, they had us make like a dinner mat, which they then put into like this plastic thing. I can't remember the word, where you put something into a plastic thing, like people do with their cards. I still own that from when I was 3 or 4. I think I was 3. So yeah, I hold on to my possessions. I always look after them. My favorite ice cream flavor, Rohan, is vanilla. I'm never one for rich desserts personally. And not only that, I also like the plain stuff, so put sprinkles on it or something, but ultimately I love vanilla, that's my favourite. Do you think Transformers is a dead franchise? No, but I think they need to be smarter with it. Khan says he said 3 minutes, but it lasts a bit longer. Oh, you talk about the live stream? Yeah, because sometimes I just enjoy talking to you guys so much, and a few more of you started to come in, and you started asking questions and things, and I was like, oh, I'm having fun chatting, so yeah, sometimes it just gives me a boost at the end. Big Bash Vanilla is also my favourite flavour. Oh, that's cool to know. Okay, I'm actually getting a bit tired now. Let's see. Oh, wow. It's almost 1 a.m. and I've still got editing to do. So, McDonald's or KFC? KFC. Although McDonald's, I think a lot of people are boycotting them, myself included. Connor says, I think the oldest thing I still own is Sonic Colors on the DS. I've had that since I was like 5 to 6 years old. Ooh, wow. Adam says, did you ever see Game of Thrones? I actually wanted to, because I felt like I wanted to watch more Lord of the Rings style stuff. And when I heard Sean Bean was actually in it, like Boromir himself, I was like, oh yeah, Lord of the Rings style stuff. He's in a Lord of the Rings style setting. He's in it. He looks like Boromir. Sure, I'll go watch that. But then I heard a couple of things about Game of Thrones, and I thought, oh, it's a more violent version of Lord of the Rings. But then I heard that it's also got like incest in there and stuff, and I was like, ew, that doesn't sound like something I'd want to see. And I was a kid at the time, so I was like, no, that doesn't sound like something I want to see. And I also so yeah, I didn't watch it. And then I also found out that he also dies at the end of the first season. Now, bear in mind, I think I was 13 or something, I think that's how old I was. Yeah, about 13, 14. So when I was younger, that did seem much more scarier to watch, just the idea of those things. Mainly, you know, the incest stuff. But I was like, you know what, so I'm not going to bother watching it. And when I found out I also found out he died at the end of the first season. I was like, well, there you go. There's my whole reason for not wanting to watch it. I don't need to see it now. However, when I got older, I thought, you know what? I've seen more things now. As you get older, you hear about more stories. You hear what the world is like, and I was like, okay, I think I can probably sit through it now. And I thought, how many seasons are there? Oh, there's going to be one more season to go. All right, I'll wait for that one season to come out, and then I'll binge watch the whole show. And you know what that season was? It was season 8. Was it season 8? The season that everyone hated, and everyone said it went against the books because George R.R. Martin hadn't written them, and even though he gave them pointers from it, and they were just trying to D&D, they were just trying to rush it and just get it out quickly so they could just start working on their Star Wars trilogy, even though HBO offered them more and says that we can give you more seasons and everything, and they still just tried to quickly get out of that as soon as they could. So, yeah, that was, when I heard how bad it was, I was like, you know what, if it just ended so badly, I don't think there's a point in going back and watching it, so I didn't bother watching it. Adam said, I think the best way of looking at it is the journey, not the destination. Yes, but I feel like endings really do matter. Endings are very important. Adam says, yes, it's a very dark show. Well, and then he goes, well, when doesn't Sean Bean die? Good point, bud. Yeah, I should have seen the writing on the wall. But I think Game of Thrones was just another example of him dying a lot. So at the time, I wasn't going to be aware originally. Electrify has done another $2 super chat. Thanks, bud. He goes, what type of screenplays did you write if you had? When I was a kid, I wrote a story about a couple of big-time robbers. I call it The Instigators. And in the first book that I wrote, his partner dies. In the second one, he goes and finds an old partner of his, and they go about doing their mission. Then the third one, he ends up, I think, getting caught or killed or something. And then that was my trilogy when I was a kid. So, yeah, that was fun. Syed said this was an entertaining stream. I'm glad you like it. I'm going over time. The G-Gamer said, this might be a divisive question, but do you think the internet and media are more sensitive than it was 5 or 10 years ago? Oh yeah, heck yeah. I don't think anyone would say that's a sensitive question. It's true, they are. There was a time, I remember when I grew up, where people were more... It's like they knew it wasn't a good thing, but they just kind of knew that it happens. But now people like to don't look at it as it happens and think, what should be done about this? It's like you're spending way too much time on that. There are bigger things to be focusing your time and energy on. I'm writing a prequel about Grandpa Max's early life and plumber days. Ooh, that sounds fun, Big Bash. Yes, true, Connor. He says he didn't die in National Treasure, to be fair. Plus, I was 9 years old when National Treasure came out. It was the first Nicolas Cage movie I saw, and I saw it in theaters with my dad. So yeah, I have a lot of memories of that. Joshman says, "I am back, Eric. We have to go get food for Mother's Day." Eric, how many more minutes do you got on the stream? I don't know. I'm already over time. I was gonna end it 17 minutes ago, but I'm still here. We'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll see. But I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be on here. I'm just having fun chatting to you guys. Connor says, "I wish they made a third movie." Yeah, National Treasure was fun, but the second one wasn't that great, I remember. But I did like Nicolas Cage's character and his geeky friend, who I thought was cool as well. Adam Grunther says, "I kid you not, he has it in his contract that they can't kill him off in a movie now because he died so many times." Oh, really? I think there was a video where... what was his name? Gary? Was it Gary? The old man? He's passed away now. Where he actually talked to Sean Bean about that, the fact that he dies so many times. And he had that was funny. What was the name of the guy that passed away? He interviewed Sean Bean. Sean Bean. Larry, was it? Talks. Larry King, that was it. Yeah, there's a video where he actually raises the question to him. How old was this video? 9 years ago, wow. And yeah, he brings it up and he goes, "No, I'm not I think if I remember correctly, he goes, "I'm not trying to. It just ends up happening." So that's funny, Adam, that now he's put it in his contract that he can't die. I actually don't blame him. Joshman says, "Do you believe you're going to reach your goal by the end of June?" Here's hoping. I'm working on a lot of videos. I'm hoping that they're trending subjects, so I hope that it does work. Adam says, "I sadly have to head back to work. Have a great rest of the stream." It's alright, Adam. I'm going to be ending the stream now anyway, so thanks for joining the stream, Adam. Take care and have a great day at work, or the best day you can. Oh wow, Joey just entered the stream. Hi, Joey. Saeed, take care as well, buddy. We'll see you next time too. What are the top 5 worst movies of all time? I haven't got a list of that. Cars is on that list. I don't know about the others. One I'm looking forward to is Sonic 2 vs 3. Yeah, that I put on a bit of a pause because I have to get some of these others out first, timing wise, especially if you guys want me to do some other versus videos that I'm going to plan on doing. So yeah. Rank all seasons of The Boys. Alright. Oh dang, what was it in season 3? I just blanked on season 3. What was in season 3? Oh yeah, it was Soldier Boy, yeah. I don't know, I think it's hard to say. So probably season 3, 1, 2, 4... No, season 3, 2, 1, 4... and then 5... Was it only 4 seasons we've got? Yeah, it's 4, isn't it? I was thinking 5 seasons for some reason. Yeah, I thought 4 was by far the worst one. Oh yeah, Alien Swarm. Not as bad as Race Against Time, bud, but it was still not really good. Eric, will you be doing a verse video between the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch and the animated Lilo and Stitch? Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do, bud. I really am hoping to get that. Alright, guys, it was lovely talking to you, but I gotta go get to work on the Versus video, so I'm gonna take a little break. have some water, refreshments, and things. Then when I get back to editing. So, thanks, guys. I had an absolute blast with you as always. We went really over time, so that really tells you something that I had a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'll catch all of you on the next live stream. Thanks for your support and for your super chats. Remember to keep an eye on the merch that I've shown you, and remember that you can get the merch. The link is in the description, and let me know what you think. I hope you enjoy all of it, and of course you can support me over on Patreon, which really does help support the channel a great deal, and you'll get a ton of additional content, and it helps support me along the way. So thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch all of you very soon. Take care.